Hello everyone, my name is Christina and this channel is In the Garden, and today we are planting these beautiful Amaryllis bulbs. Now, we took some steps about 8 weeks ago to put these bulbs from green growth, where you see these today, into hibernation. And so these bulbs are ones you cannot winter over outside, so you're going to keep these inside and you're going to create a winter and a dormancy for them, and then you're going to replant them. Today we're replanting these, but don't worry, we're going to go over all the steps we took to get to this point. Before we took our Amaryllis out of dormancy, what we did was we had some green stalks that came up this summer. After the winter time, after the blooming, spring and summer, the green leaves come up, and we had them here in the greenhouse. And what they did is they stored energy over the summer so they could create new blooms for the winter. So then once the fall hit, so about September or October, you'll want to take these out of the dirt. What I did was I let the soil dry out so that this root system also dried out. Then I took the bulbs out of the dirt, I cut the tops off, and we stored them in our color blends, breathable yellow bags, and we put them in our basement, and we left them there for 6 or 8 weeks. Then when we were ready to plant them, what we did was we took them out of dormancy by putting their little roots into water and rehydrating them. This allows this green growth to start engaging. So you see that? That's all new growth right there. Okay. Now we did that for all of these bulbs, but I just left these two out so you can see. You just want to find a glass to where you can get the roots in there, but not let the bulb touch water. You're not trying to rot out this bulb. You're trying to reinvigorate the bulb so they're not dehydrated root systems, okay? So let's put that down. Now, after you've taken them out of dormancy and you've added them to some hydrating water, you can do this for 8 to 12 hours. You could do this for a couple days. Here are some of the bigger bulbs that we had in water, and these little root systems have been rehydrated. This is our big one, and while it was in water, it actually started blooming. So it didn't have this bloom set up before we put it in water. It has enjoyed the water so much it's starting to take off. From here, you're going to pick your planter. So I've got some of the bigger ones. You're going to want the planter to have the bulb by itself. So this one will be by itself, and the bigger one will be by itself. Now this larger one is called a Jumbo Amaryllis Christmas Gift, and it's white. This one is an indoor Amaryllis Elvis, and it's like a pink. You can see that pink. So these are the bigger, gigantic bulbs. So we're going to put them by themselves. And then these smaller bulbs we can put together in these terracotta containers, so we'll do that. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to add soil to all of my containers. You can just use your basic potting soil. So what you're going to want is one that has moisture control, because these bulbs really don't want a lot of moisture. And then if you do not have a planter with a hole, like this one doesn't, you want to be very, very gingerly in watering them. But most of them you want a hole so that it'll drain away. You see that one? All right. So I'm going to put soil in them. Then once we get the soil in, we'll put the bulb in, and then we'll add a green moss to the top. The moss will keep the moisture in. It'll also make the bulb, the top of the bulb, appear to be more pleasant if you're going to spread these throughout your house. So let me get the soil in, and then I'll show you how to do the rest. If you would like, I got with the terracotta pots you see on this back row some drain hole covers so that the soil doesn't drain out of the drain hole. I'm going to do that for the ones that they came with, but you can put a paper towel or any kind of old cloth. These are what the ones look like, and what you're going to do is you're going to set them over the grate, right like that, and then you're going to put the soil on top of it. It'll prevent the soil from leaching out of your pot. Carefully start nestling in the middle, the root system. And it's okay, the roots will grab this off. Okay, now the really important things to these bulbs is you absolutely do not want water to go into the bulb itself. And as you can see, we've got the bulb kind of splitting open as the blooms come open. And so we just want to be careful that from here, we're not going to add any more soil. We're going to just add the moss to this one. So always leaving the complete head of the bulb out of the soil. But if you want it to look pretty, so you're not staring at dirt and the bulb itself, you could even, let's say, raise up the soil and go a little higher if you prefer. And actually, I might. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Oh yeah, I like that, because I actually like to look at these bulbs. All right, so again, the same principle. We're not going to add any more soil. We're going to just add our moss. You can get your moss wet ahead of schedule if you'd like, but essentially what you're doing is you're just tucking it into bed. You're keeping that bulb from rolling all over the place. The roots will grow down and into the soil. And then you're also just making it look nice for your home. And these blooms get very weighted. So if you want, you can stick a stake in there to help straighten it out. But ultimately, these bulbs always grow toward the sun. Let me see if I can find a stake to help stake this one up. All right, this is our garden stake. So I'm going to put it over here on this side, and I'm going to get some twine or tape, and we're going to tape that upright. And then we're going to do the same to this one, where we're going to give it some sturdy stability to hold on to. Okay, let's try the tape first. And if the tape is not a good fit, we will go toward the rubber wire. Might just use the rubber wire on top of the tape, because I kind of like. And actually, we're going to rewrap that. Okay. Now that we've got it down, let's do it one more time. So we're going to close the end in there as we're wrapping it. I did not have the end closed in there before. Okay, set that right there for now. Okay, this is our soft wire tie. I'm gonna take that. And we don't want it to be too tight, because we don't, the amaryllis stalk itself is very hollow. So if you ever cut into it, there is no center flesh. It's a very hollow rod. Now this goes on top, but ultimately the amaryllis was too big at the base, but we can try it up here. Yeah, too big. Okay, well, we'll just leave it like that. And that should help sturdy it. Now let's get another one. Now, had these been planted and not in water in my laundry room, you might not have to run into this. So this doesn't happen on all of them, but you do want to provide some stability because they are very heavy. Okay, I like doing the tape method because it keeps the soft wire from digging into the plant. So I'm going to do that again. So we've got the bottom, and then what we want to do is fold it in on itself. Okay, wrap the wire. Now this one is a giant bulb. Not all of your amaryllis bulbs are going to be this big, but I want you to do a count with me. Every amaryllis is going to bloom for you several times. So there's a new flower stalk here coming up. There's this one, there's this top one, and then there's this one. So in the next week or two, we will have at least 4. And then there was a baby one up from the back coming out this side. So take a look at this. Isn't that pretty? Okay, key things. We did not bury our bulb deeper. We kind of nestled it on top of the soil, and then we filled in with the moss. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna water it slightly. I'll show you how much water you need. So for this big bulb, you might need a little more. You could do the ice cube method that you do for orchids, where you put 1 ice cube a week. That would work, but you're not gonna offer very much liquid. Again, you do not want to pour the liquid through the top or get it into the bulb in any way. Okay, so your root watering only. Okay, now that was a large amaryllis bulb, and we've used, you know, this is a kid's cup. So I would say this is maybe 4 to 6 ounce cups, and that's it. And that'll be ready and watered for a week. Now this is going to get our bigger bulb again, this one right here. And I actually like when they rubber band these off. Because it doesn't impact the bulb at all. So that's nice. And what I do is I just save this and I tuck it into the soil after I get it all put in with moss. But we took some soil from this one, so let's add some back really quick. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit more. Okay, grab your amaryllis. They usually come with this amount of root system attached. I actually cut my root system down when I put them into storage, so that's why my bulbs are a lot smaller. And then you tuck that dirt around the bulb and the root system. And that's a little off center because the way the roots are growing. Let me shove this over there. Okay, perfect. You're gonna have a little settling because this soil is just so nice and fluffy. So we're making sure that the bulb, I'm gonna take that off. Making sure that the bulb has soil contact for the root system, but we're not covering the bulb at all like you normally would for other plants. And then you're using your moss to kind of fill in, because the moss will keep the moisture in. It also makes the bulb look nice when it's sitting around your house. And it allows your bulb to stay in place. It kind of cushions that in for you. So that's kind of it. So what's nice is that this will bloom through the winter multiple times. When the flower is no longer blooming, let's say out of the center, you can cut it off and it'll start new shoots. Okay, let me show you this last one together, and then we'll zoom through the rest of these. Again, these are my bulbs that I took out and I replanted, or I'm replanting. This is my first time replanting. I put in water, gave it moisture. We're going to add a little bit of soil again. Okay. Now we're going to plant 2 in here because they can be planted together. And so we're going to take our bigger ones, just like that, tuck the soil in around the root system. and put your little pieces of moss in there. And I always like to kind of get it right between the bulb and the container itself, so that, there we go, so that we've got kind of, it puts pressure on that side to get it really nice and tight in there, and it won't move. This is a little bit of a mess, so definitely garden shed or outdoors for this activities. So we did put that little screen in there, remember? And the soil won't come out, but it has this little tray that goes on it, and we'll take it in the house. And this came with 3, so I'm putting the smaller ones in the smaller containers. Now this particular set also came with this kind of cushiony black coaster, if you will. So if you're putting this on furniture, it's going to look amazing. Let's see. Okay, just like that. So if you like this look, it's going to have beautiful, these ones are red, pink, and white flowers that'll come up for Christmas. And they do take, I think it's 6 to 8 weeks to bloom. So you need to time this accordingly. The latest you could do this is mid-November. Okay. So super pretty. You can get these bulbs just about anywhere. I'm going to pick the bigger of the 2. They're pretty uniform. This one has that side shoot. So I'm going to put the bigger of the 2 in this pot. This pot is going to get another one. I think I'm going to switch. Yeah, that looks good. All right. And then we're going to add our moss. Again, this can be very messy. If you don't like the moss, an alternative could be like tiny stones or pebbles or little rocks or gemstones if you like that. I like this look because I feel like bulbs are like a foresty thing, and I like the look of it. Now, if you don't like all the paper on here, you can take a little bit of it off. But ideally, the rule is when you get these planted, you water them once, and then you wait until green growth shows, and then you can water them again. But you do not water them until you see that green growth. At least don't water it the second time until you see that green growth. So you want the roots and soil not to get swampy, and you want to see that the plant is moving on and creating that new green growth. And I haven't had any problem seeing that, so you shouldn't either. Okay, a little bit more. Just like kind of shove it in there a little bit to press it in. See, winter bulbs are the funnest thing to plant. So that'll be our next one. Okay. Now, we picked up these indoor paperwhite, I think you say this is Narcissus zivia, and they're basically little tiny daffodils, but they're indoor plants, and I thought it'd be fun to plant them in these 2 little containers I got as part of our Amaryllis time period. So they don't look like daffodil bulbs, because daffodil bulbs are very wide and then very fluty at the top. This looks more like a tulip. It actually kind of looks like a cross between a tulip and a daffodil. So we have 2 pots and 4 bulbs. We're going to plant 2 in each. Same concept. We're going to add a little more soil. We're going to, actually, you might be able to cover these all the way. It says that you can plant 4 bulbs per pot. Size should be 6 inches. It needs to go in full sun. It's going to get 16 to 20 inches tall. Hardiness is 9 to 11. We're in zone 7. That's why they need to be inside. And does it say the planting depth? Fill pot halfway with soil. Place bulbs in the soil and point them up at the root plate. Cover the bulbs with soil. Okay. Not like your amaryllis. So you're going to get it down in there. Now we're going to cover them, completely cover them. And I'm still going to use the moss, and I'll just put the moss on top and they can grow up through the moss. Okay, completely covered. Now one step further, you could add some bulb tone. I don't have any bulb tone, so I'm going to just put biotone, but Espoma sells a bulb tone that you could add. I'm going to put a little on the top and put my moss on top of that. Now this would be a good one for little rocks. Set those in a windowsill. Actually, probably leave them in here until we get some growth. Okay, so let's take out some soil real quick. We're gonna add our fertilizer this time. This is when you would add it, is when the bulb's gonna go in. Put our little bulb in. I like taking all the little shells and putting them in there with the bulb, because they're not bad biomatter for the bulb. So there you go. Okay, now you cover completely with soil. I'm very excited about these. I've never planted this kind of bulb for inside. Okay, I'm gonna squish that down a little so we can make some room for our moss. Okay, poke that in there. Okay. All right, so that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 amaryllis and 4 of these indoor paperwhite narcissus. I think that's how you say it, but it looks beautiful. I'm gonna set those there. I was using this tray to dry out my nasturtium seeds. If you've never seen nasturtium, that's what it looks like. And I had pulled these off my own nasturtium this year. So let's see, where can we put these? I'm doing a lot of seed saving, so I'm very excited to see how it turns out. Okay everyone, that is planting amaryllis and planting some indoor paperwhite bulbs that we're going to see come up. Now I hope you enjoyed planting amaryllis and that you enjoy these bulbs, these sometimes small, sometimes big bulbs in the winter months for Christmas and the holidays and through the new year. And really this is the beginning, if you're planting amaryllis, of other alliums you might plant, like garlic is this season's plant as well that you need to get in the ground, and some tulips, hyacinth, any kind of bulb. We just got our bulbs from Color Blends and we'll start working on those projects too. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.